No doubt this is something that you've all seen when it first went down, and it was awful, it was terrible, but let's just get into the story. Sarah Moulds, ex-teacher, tells court her life has been torn to pieces by pony hitting case. Sarah Moulds chastised a grey horse named Bruce Almighty, according to prosecutors, after the animal ran into a road in Lincolnshire in November 2021. The 39-year-old lost her job as a teacher after video footage emerged, but denies two animal cruelty offences. And there's that, like, why would you do that? That's fucking, like, that picture's just upsetting. That's just so fucked up that you would do that to an animal. You would actually just punch a fucking horse. That's fucking what a piece of shit. But a former teacher who was seen kicking and slapping a pony has told a court that she made minimal contact with the animal and she and her children have received death threats since the incident. Sarah Moulds chastised a grey pony named Bruce Almighty, according to prosecutors, after the animal ran into a road in Lincolnshire in November of 2021. The 39-year-old lost her job as a teacher over the incident but denies two animal cruelty offences, claiming her actions were proportionate and necessary in the circumstances. Like, animals aren't really that good at putting two and two together. Especially, like, there's certain animals that you can train, like a horse and stuff like that. I've found that, like, basically, I've got two wee pugs. You can't fucking hit them. You can't. Like, they're wee things, but then a horse is different. I'll save it for the end, right? Because I want to talk about, the fucking around and finding out nature of hitting a horse. Giving evidence at Lincoln Crown Court on Wednesday, she said she had intended to briefly shock Bruce, but denied losing her temper. She said in that moment, Bruce has done something incredibly dangerous, and in that exact moment, I decided that the right thing to do was discipline him quickly. In reality, in that moment, it was 4 seconds. My intention was then, and always was, to discipline Bruce in the moment so that he does not do it again. There was minimal contact, and it was so quick and short. Moulds told the jury she owns four horses, has ridden them since the age of four, and had owned Child's Pony Bruce for 2.5 years at the time of the incident on 6 November 2021. Bruce, 11 years old at the time, was being ridden by a child in the Cottesmore Hunt, one of Britain's oldest foxhound packs in the vicinity of the Drift Gunby. As the horses were being untacked, Bruce was being held by the child before he unexpectedly took off and moved about 25 metres down the road. Moulds instructed the child to let go of Bruce's lead rope, as she believed there was a number of horrific things that could have happened had the child attempted to hold on. Bruce eventually stopped to graze on a grass verge and was seen on camera returning to its owners before being chastised by Moulds and being led into a horse box, the court heard. The pony is still owned by Moulds, lives on her property in Somerby, Melton Mowbray, Leicestershire, and has a wonderfully idyllic life, she said. Moulds also said that she, her family, and Bruce had not returned to trail hunting due to death threats made to herself and her children. She said, "Right, I'll admit, I understand people getting mad at the women, but don't do death threats to your children. Like, that's what did they do? What did they do? It's not their fault they've got a piece of shit for a mother." She said, "I certainly will never strike a horse, discipline a horse in that manner, because my life has been torn to pieces as a result of that 4 second decision." She said she had to go into hiding due to the reaction to the video, but took Bruce to be examined on 16th November 2021. Footage of the incident, which was shared on social media by Hertfordshire Hunt saboteurs, was played to the jury on Wednesday. Prosecutors told the court that Bruce had suffered physically and mentally from Mould's unnecessary and counterproductive actions. Giving evidence for the prosecution, Dr. Suzanne Green, an equine veterinary surgeon, sorry, it's late, I'm tired, said that Mould's actions were not proportionate, not appropriate, and not in response to anything. However, she accepted that there was no external evidence of bruising on Bruce, and any internal injuries or bruising under his fur would only have been detected through a post-mortem examination. I mean, it's a horse. Like, good luck bruising a fucking horse, man. £600 of just sheer muscle and iron bone and stuff like that, man. Like, yeah, good luck hunting a horse. Likening the blows to the horse being whipped in a race or show jumping, defence barrister Derek Duffy said, horses have pain inflicted on them in many other ways in the course of sports. We know that punishments to horses is both routine and permitted in certain settings. Dr. Green replied, at no point is hitting your horse on the face done with care. But Dr. Clive Medeiros, a veterinary Jesus Christ surgeon giving evidence for the defence, said Bruce would likely have only felt transient discomfort in the incident and there was not any hard evidence that he was in pain. I mean, I would believe that. It's a fucking horse. Moulds was dismissed from her position at the Mowbray Education Trust in Melton Mowbray, Leicestershire in December of 2021. In January 2022, she was charged with 2 offences under the Animal Welfare Act of 2006. Moulds denies causing an animal unnecessary suffering, causing an animal unnecessary suffering to a protected animal and not taking reasonable steps to protect the animal from pain, suffering, injury or disease. The trial continues. Now, one thing about horses, right, is they're walking piles of powerful muscle. Like, they're just massive, powerful things. Now, I already knew, like, one of the things, never ever approach a horse from behind. You know, that famous one, I didn't need to tell me that. I would never do it. You see a horse kick once, and you're like, yeah, I'm never going near that horse's fucking legs, even from the front. Fuck that, right? But, like, why would you punch like not only is it fucked up, right? Like it's fucked up like inflicting that type of cruelty on an animal. I mean, I will turn around and say that I don't think those punches did anything to it because it's a fucking horse. They've got iron bones, sheer muscle. Things can run at like 100 miles a fucking hour. They can plow through crowds. There was a reason cavalry was so fucking effective, right? But like that thing can fucking kill you. Like that thing will. Its kick would just turn your skull into dust and turn your brain into a pancake. That thing could fucking kill you, right? I knew horses were strong, but the thing that pure made me more afraid of horses, right, was this is back when I was doing private security and we were working on guarding all the wind farms that were being built around. See how Colburn, Lesmahago area, it was all about there. And I was in one of these huts that was way out in the middle of fucking nowhere, but it was a patch where they were laying all the copper wire. Why do we need to guard copper wire? Well, a certain ethnic group's very fond of copper wire. Right, so basically I was out there guarding that, but next to it was a horse farm. I was away out in the sticks, I was in the middle of nowhere, and there was a horse farm. But a lot of the road had been dug up. There was a big trench dug on one side of the road to lay the copper wire. And then I heard a woman like, yoo-hoo, like shouting on me. I came out my cabin and she's there on this giant fucking horse. Like it wasn't a little pony like that thing. This was a fucking big horse, right? And she says, the horse is too scared to walk down the road because of the big holes. Because that's one thing with horses. See how the LGBT thing with the horses were not wanting to walk across like the Rainbow Crossway, and everyone's like, haha, based horses or homophobic horses. It's because see if there's terrain that horses aren't sure of, they won't walk on it. They'll look at it and go, I don't know what that is, so I'm not standing on that. Because horses know that if something happens to their foot or happens to their leg, that's a death sentence, right? So they know. So that's why they won't walk on terrain they're not sure of. So she said to me, can you walk in front of the horse to show the horse that it's safe? And then the horse will walk right behind you. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I can do that. But then I'm sitting there thinking that I'm going to be like 10 feet in front of the horse and the horse is going to be way behind. No, that horse came right up to me and his head is like right there. And like one thing you don't know until you're up close to a horse, the horse's head is like bigger than like, see from like halfway up my leg to like my head, that was the size of the horse's head. It was massive. So I'm walking just kind of like with this fucking thing next to me. And then she says, and when we got to the other side, and I'm like, you're all right, big guy. And she was like, oh no, he's fine. She was like, this one's a massive softie. You can pet him if you want. So I'm like, all right, okay. And I pet him, and I'm like rubbing his nose and rubbing his face, and I'm like, oh, this is quite cool. I've never pet a horse before. And she went, he likes a scratch behind his ear. So I went, all right, and scratched behind his ear. Now, I think I tickled him a little bit because he done that, like thing, the thing that horses do. But my hand was on him, and see from that I felt just sheer power behind that little move in the neck, and like I immediately got scared. I was like, that made me see just how fucking powerful these animals are, right? So I won't go near horses. Fuck that, right? Those things could kill you. See if that thing like done that with its head into mine, it would have shattered my fucking skull. Right. Luckily, he was a big softie and he was a very nice horse. And he used to come up to the fence whenever he saw me in my little like hut to come up and say hello. And I would say hello to him, but from a distance, I didn't go near the fence. But still, what she's doing, she's playing a very, very, very dangerous game. Because if that horse wants to just pull away from her, turn around and just go whoopah with the back leg, it fucking could have. And that'd be her shin disintegrated or fucking lung crushed or something like that. And she would have deserved it because, you know, fuck around and find out, especially with like £600 worth of killing machine, right? So she's fucking stupid. It was shit for her doing that. She was a shit person for doing that. But still, if that thing turned around and just decided to pulverise her fucking brain, I mean, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.